Welcome to the PHNX Sun Devils show, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, aliens of all kind, head to any Circle K Arizona location where you can get any size Polar Popper Froster for just 79 cents now through September 3rd. Actually, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if that deal applies to aliens. I just kind of...
No, it does.
You think it does?
Yeah, aliens can be in the inner circle. I mean, everybody can be in the inner circle. All you got to do is join for free.
No, it really is that easy. Guys, I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by the one, the only blind mouse himself, Erik Ruby. That is Erik with a
We have to find it. That one, like, listen out of... No, Jose Perez is
Jose
still
Perez
the
was pretty... It was still a deeper cut.
It's still the worst because I literally missed one show and it just happened to be, like, the same time that Jose Perez quit on the team. Blind Mouse isn't bad, but it's just
I feel like Blind Mouse is low-key a good one.
No, it's not a good
What do you think, DJ Daniel?
It is not a good nickname. That's absurd.
I think we could do better.
Thank you.
Do better than the Blind Mouse?
If
the
I
Blind Mouse sounds awesome.
If I wore sunglasses like every single day on this show, I feel like the Blind Mouse would apply. But now people are going to tune in and be like, he just looks like a regular mouse. He doesn't look like a blind mouse. You know?
But you could be blind.
You can call me Mr. Mouse.
Mr. Mouse? No. Disney's kind of got that.
No, Disney has Mickey Mouse.
That's part of the trademark that they got going on.
They have Mr. Mouse.
They have Mr. Mouse.
I thought Mickey was like public domain now. We should like take that over at PHNX.
Are you gonna be Mickey?
I was gonna do a Mickey Mouse impersonation.
I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by Mickey Mouse.
Yikes!
That's incredible. That is incredible. Got Sweet Prince Kenny in the chat, along with a bunch of other PHNX diehards. Do us a solid, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. We have a lot to get into today. The one, the only Arizona State legend himself, Lawrence Guy, is going to be joining us. A phenomenal interview. Great dude. Can't wait for everybody to just sit back and kind of listen to what this ASU legend had to say about his time in the NFL, being a Super Bowl champ, and then some of the stuff that he's dealt with and overcome off the field and how he's trying to give back to the community in more ways than one. We will get into that. Gonna wait just a tad bit longer. Want to make sure we've got a good chunk of folks in here for that interview so that you guys can see the entirety of it. But first, let's go ahead. Let's talk about some other NFL news.
Let's do it.
San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk reporting to camp
Whoa.
today. Kind of a surprise. Brandon Aiyuk, obviously a San Francisco 49er wide receiver that for the last couple of months, maybe hinting that a potential trade was inbound for the former Sun Devil due to contract situations. He's still in his rookie deal with the San Francisco 49ers. He's certainly outplayed that contract, but reporting to camp, Erik. So it doesn't sound like Aiyuk is going to be on the move anytime soon.
I mean, can't you still report to camp and get traded?
I mean, in theory, yeah.
Like, I know it's like, hey, I'm going to hold out until I get a new deal or until I get moved. That's like the regular move, but it's not off the table.
I mean, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense in my mind.
To show up to camp.
So, yeah, I mean, the injury risk.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Maybe they've come to an agreement. Maybe he's going to get a deal that he wants. Something behind the scenes. I just want to watch Brandon Aiyuk play football.
I mean, that's fair.
That's
I think everybody does.
Whether it's on the 49ers, on my sweet baby Cardinals, on your sweet baby Chargers, I just want to see him play football, and I want to have a quarterback that can get him the ball. And honestly, you know, it's nice to see him in a stacked offense like the 49ers with a good coach and everything, but I want to see him get that burn. I want to see him get that true number one. You're our guy. We're going to go through you, and like, I think he could put up just some absolute monster numbers. So hopefully if he's coming back to San Francisco, it's under the impression of like, hey man, like you can be our guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. How's Heat Sports saying, I want him to come to Arizona?
That would be very
understandable.
Nice.
And Sharon, going back to the top of the show, saying Jose Perez is still the best.
Why,
nickname.
Sharon? Out of all people, I would not expect you to think Jose Perez is good.
A good
First of all,
nickname.
I'm the palest human being on planet Earth. My nickname should not be Jose Perez.
Okay. I mean, the blind mouse.
The blind mouse is actually more fitting than Jose Perez.
I mean, that's fine.
Because I have terrible vision. I'm wearing my contacts right now, but I'm not a quitter. Okay. So I think that, like,
you calling Jose Perez a quitter?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
no,
literally why I got
that's
the
fair.
nickname, is
just
because I
wanted
was
to see where
off
you're
the
going.
show like the day that
Yeah, that's
happened.
fair.
I was called
That's
Jose
fair.
Perez.
The big hat came not too far after that.
No, the big hat was a great distraction from Jose Perez. But then you would hit me with the double intro of like, we got Big Hat Man, also known as Jose Perez over here. And then Shane's like, and Dr. Rubis.
Yeah.
You know, like it's fine. It's okay.
The zookeeper.
We can go back to Brandon Aiyuk, though.
You want to go back to Brandon?
We can go back to
Look,
Brandon
I
Aiyuk.
think for him, he's one of the best young talents in the league, especially at that position.
Yeah.
And I think he is going to benefit from playing this season as a San Francisco 49er. If I'm him, I'm tabling contract negotiations. I'm going to go ball out.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'm going to go get myself a deal that is going to be worth far more than I think what his value is as a franchise tag player, as a wide receiver that, quite frankly, is pegged as the number 2 guy on that team when he is and can be a true number 1 wide receiver. So
yeah, I know that no matter what team he's on, he's going to come kind of with that passion. Oh yeah. And ever since he got out of Shanahan's doghouse, you've just seen him play with that certain type of fire. And now that maybe he feels disrespected, you know, some guys, they react to that poorly, but I think he's going to react to it well, just because he's shown that when he hits adversity in the NFL, like he's gone up and kind of taken the next step. Let's say one question before we go to Lawrence Guy from House Eat Sports. Why has Trenton Bourguet gotten worse since 2022? He seemed like he was going to be really good, but progressively gotten worse. Do you have an answer for that?
I don't think he got worse.
I don't think he got worse.
I think that's an unfair. That's unfair to say that he's gotten worse. This is it's such a team sport. I think Trenton Bourguet and all the quarterbacks at Arizona State, they're a product of the coaches. They're a product of the players around them. They're a product of the offense. And if you look last season, the offense wasn't an offense that was tailored to really any of the quarterbacks. And Kenny Dillingham made a change when it came to offensive play caller pretty early on in the season. But whoever was the quarterback at the time was dealing with injuries, dealing with injuries around them at the offensive line position, running back, wide receiver. And it was just a tough season overall. I think if you look back to what Trenton Bourguet did the year before last, he was throwing it all over the park. It was ridiculous, some of the numbers that he was putting up. He's one of the brightest minds on this team when it comes to football that I've ever been around. So I don't think he got worse.
I don't think you can fairly judge anybody off of last season, but I think maybe the position the most susceptible to the injury problem and just kind of where the state of the program was.
And the public outcry.
It's the quarterback position, right? You know, you have so many injuries, not just in your room yourself, to the point where you have Jalen Conyers and Cam Scatterbo being your quarterbacks, but you also have massive injuries on the offensive line front. And that in its own right for Trenton, who is not, you know, deemed to be a super mobile quarterback. Yeah. It's not that he's unathletic with concrete at his feet, but he's not some guy who's going to run out of the pocket and get you first downs all the time.
He's still recovering from a foot injury.
Right.
So.
Like you know, he was put along with a lot of people on last year's team in a tough spot. And it makes you maybe appreciate what Cam did a little bit more last year, just because he was still able to succeed in that spot. But quarterback's a really hard position to play, period. And especially with all the circumstances, like you mentioned, the change in offensive play callers, the injuries in the offensive line, the lack of weapons to actually throw to, plus the actual injuries in the quarterback room and everything kind of like that playing into it. This year will be a good test for Trent if we see him. I know that the conversation is maybe just a little bit off of him right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if by the time we're in the season, you know, he's in that conversation for playing. And if by the end of the season, he's going to start a couple of games.
Yeah. We'll obviously see what happens, but that is the current Arizona State roster. We got the chance to talk with a former Arizona State legend himself this morning.
I'm juiced.
Lawrence Guy was phenomenal.
It was so good.
Like I didn't know what to expect, right? Because you get a bunch of different personalities with dudes that have been successful at the NFL level, and you could tell just from talking with him, really, really humble guy. And wants to give back to the community.
Oh, and not just to check a box. And you'll get that. This is it's about 25 minutes long, this interview. Plan to go like 15, but when an interview's that good, you just kind of rip. And I will say, maybe the best thing that he said is the very last thing he said. So you're going to want to tune in, and you're going to want to stay till the end, because some shots were fired, and ASU alumni are going to be a huge fan of what Lawrence Guy had to say.
It was awesome. Well, enough of us for the afternoon. Let's go ahead and get to Lawrence Guy. We're joined now by Arizona State legend, 13-year NFL vet, heading into year 14 and Super Bowl 53 champion, Lawrence Guy. Lawrence, thanks so much for taking the time today, man.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm going to enjoy this interview right now.
Love it. Love it. Which of those sounds the most surreal to you? Being an Arizona State legend, heading into year 14 in the NFL, or Super Bowl 53 champion?
Well, yeah, one is a Super Bowl champ because it's probably one of the hardest things to accomplish once you get into the NFL, because you have to think about that. Like, you draw the luck of what teams you might be on, and once you get into the playoff system, it's like it's a dime and a dozen. Like, anything could happen. Any call could ruin it. I went the two, lost one, won one. So like that one's pretty awesome. But understanding where I came from Arizona State, it's probably one of the biggest things that is humbling, because you know where you started at, and where you started at is the foundation of where you're going to build.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you mentioned, feeling lucky to end up where you are. And I think something that we don't talk about a lot of the times when it comes to professional athletes who have long careers is you put in so much work, but also where you land. And there's a lot of luck that goes into it as well. Do you feel like maybe the average fan doesn't think about like how circumstances come into play to having such a long, successful professional sports career?
Well, I think people don't understand the dedication you have to put into it. When you leave college, it's a different atmosphere. In college, you go from, I go to study hall, I go to class, I go to football. Then once you leave there and you make it to the pros, it's football, 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 until you get that family time. But it's how much you put it into them, how many hours you put into it, the film study, the rehab, the recovery, all that aspect of it means your longevity into the league. And you have to stay on tune of what's going on, how you need to develop, how you need to consistently break down different teams on an average day and see who's coming in, who's going out the league. And people to kind of just skim by that, like, oh man, I could do it. Like, I say it's an everyday thing. I tell people all the time, you can come train with me if you want to. And they ask, they're like, what do you mean? I say, I'm fine with you training with me. But I always tell people, like, if you feel like you could do it, you need to go run to the point where you have tears coming up in your eyes. And when you get to that point, that's when you need to know you have to get past it. I said, once you get past that, then you understand what you have to do every single game. You get to the point you have to plateau and go past that plateau. If it goes to an extra drive or extra quarter, or if it's a long thing, it's no giving up. I think that's the if you get that state of mind of you can never give up on a play, never give up on watching film, never give up on recovery, you can have a very long career in this league.
Built different. You think you could do that, Erik?
I don't think I could.
Yeah, I don't think either one of us could.
I would love to say that I could. I'd love to be like, I could push myself to tears, but I mean, listen, that's just a completely different level.
Yeah.
Being in, especially in the NFL, like being a professional athlete, period, but the level of brutality and physicality, and also the mental side of it as well. Like, you have to be so smart to play professional football.
It takes a lot. Like you
said. You have to be able to turn it off when you go home with your family. Like it's a level like, can you turn it off? I know a lot of people that can't turn off, but you have to be able to turn it off to go home and be that. And that's the best thing about it is, and that joyful of it, you just get to do it. I said, it's a blessing. Like I said, you have to understand where you come from. And once you get that grasp of it, every single year, it's a blessing to be able to go out there and lace up those cleats on that field. Because once you're done in an NFL setting, you're not going to put cleats on and a helmet on and shoulder pads on. It is you're done for it. It's not like basketball. You could go play pickup. Mm-hmm. So you get to enjoy every single year that you got to grind out there.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned remembering where you come from, and we bring up Arizona State. For you, what was your time like in Tempe being a Sun Devil? And when you look back at those memories, is there one that sticks out most to you?
Oh, man. I had a lot of great times when I was in Tempe. I got a pitchfork on my leg. Like, geez, I got the old pitchfork. You know, when they made the new pitchfork, I was like, God. I was like,
that's what the other leg's for.
Yeah, that's what the other leg's for.
You know, I'm like, God, I wish I got the cool one. But it's just so many memories from my time there. So many friendships, so many stories to go over. But it's just I remember I was just talking to one of my friends, and I just remember we used to go to a place called Don and Charlie's, and the best memory we always had. We had a full discussion one day that we were going to stop eating the cheesy bread and the spinach dip so heavily before the games because we're like it might be slowing us down. And they're like, yeah, we're going to do it. And as we got done with our like third basket of cheesy bread and second and dip, we're like, man, I don't think that's going to work out for us this time.
Don and Charlie's, that's the place with all the sports memorabilia, right?
Right.
All over the place. Oh yeah. And so when you talk about Arizona State and great memories and everything like that, obviously you put in a ton of work while you were here, enough to make it to the next level, which not a lot of college athletes do. What about athletically at Arizona State University and their football program helped you be ready for the grind that is the NFL and to be successful in it for over a decade?
Well, I just think is an understanding what your accomplishments are trying to be, and with the players that we had in our room, we try to push each other to another level. If it was running with the linebackers, if it was sitting there studying more, if it was just pushing each other with an extra single rep, we had a bond there was in between us that we all had a little brotherhood that we wanted to be better than where we were. We wanted to do more than where we came from, and we wanted to represent our families in a way that we could continue to live on that legacy from college into the next level. If it wasn't from pro, if it was from something else, that we put our legacy down and lived it. And I think that program was best for me at that time where I was out in life to help me grow as a man and as a young man at that time, and truly just develop my skills from on the field and off the field. And it's kudos to everybody that was there. I was a headache. I know I was a headache in college, and everybody in that program, they loved me. They looked after me. They made sure I was on track. And it's a blessing for them to deal with everyday life of a young team coming out of high school with all those different players, and to make sure that everybody was successful.
So you talk about the rooms and having a great, system around you. Was there one teammate or one coach that you feel like was really there for you and kind of helped you get on the right track?
I think there was a lot of us. Like the three, there was a couple people I could tell you that I spent a majority of my time with. Was Jamar Jarrett, my buddy Toa, Bo Moose, and Josh Jordan. We all spent time together, and we was in this little group. And I vary from group to group, but we always made sure that we had each other's back and understand where we were going. And I think as we matured as young men going into college, we understood what we had to leave behind and how we had to grow. And like from that group of people, it's just like we consistently have a understanding. One has passed, and other three are doing better, and we chime in here and there and see how are we doing, and ask like what's going on. And I think that's the biggest thing now with mental awareness is seeing how people are doing, and they're saying, "Hey, are you okay? Is this going on?" I know we all went different paths, and we all have different things out of college, but is family okay? The kids are good, and once you have that understanding, you just kind of ease a little bit better.
Absolutely. We talk a lot, obviously, about your time at Arizona State. College football and college sports have changed so much in the last few years, and obviously since you were at ASU, right? The Sun Devils now heading into year one of Big 12 football, and for you,
Mhm.
you get to represent Arizona State as a part of the inaugural Big 12 Alumni Council. Big part of that, leveraging the experience and expertise of some of the greatest Big 12 athletes and kind of how they can help today's era of college athletes, college football players, college basketball players, et cetera. For you, being named to the Big 12 Alumni Council representing Arizona State, what are you looking forward to most in that role?
I'm looking forward to most of hearing everybody's opinions. When you get into a council like that full of great people, you get to hear everybody else's opinion from how they experience college, how they experience outside of college, how they develop their brand, how do they develop their community service, and what are they doing? And I think that's what this council is. Once you get into a group of people, you get to experience different forms of life and how we can improve each other, how we can improve the student athlete that's coming into the program or existing in the program, or that student athlete that's leaving the program looking for their next adventure, if it's pro, if it's not pro. Just understanding what we could do to help them around that path. Because I think this new era of college football, there's so many opportunity with social media, with networking, that you're able to give them leverage in life more than we were back in the day. Like Twitter didn't exist when I was in college. It just came out. Instagram didn't exist. So we didn't have those resources that you could brand yourself out there and actually communicate with other future athletes that were going. So I think this council is going to be beneficial for everybody to learn on both sides, the people on the council and the people off the council, to grow as individuals and become one for a better program overall.
Yeah, I love your mindset on the whole thing, especially in the ever-changing landscape that is just college sports, period. And as somebody who played college athletics for 3 years, and now you look back at everything that has changed, you talk about being able to brand yourself in Instagram and social media and all the benefits that come with that. But do you feel like maybe it's harder to be an 18, 19, 20-year-old athlete now just because of that extra pressure, even if it could bring some bonuses?
No, 100%. I agree with you 100% right there. It's super difficult. We didn't have those stresses. I didn't have the stress of going on in Twitter in my name. Like, let me see what somebody's writing about me. Let me see if somebody tagged me in a post on Instagram. That wasn't my concern in college. In college, when we was going there, like, you just played. You knew you were doing good if you got more photo shoot opportunities. And you're like, oh, I got a banner. Oh, I'm on this poster. Other than that, you didn't really get to hear the noise outside of the locker room. And I think today's college athlete, they hear so much noise consistently. You can't go on Instagram, you can't go on Facebook, you can't go on Twitter without being tagged, and it's consistently going on there. So that's why I say mental awareness is big also, because we have to understand that every single student athlete is dealing with something. They just left home for the first time, and then now they're entering this new world trying to be their own person. And if they have success, they get to hear about it. If they have failure, they get to hear about it. How do you help them manage that stress load of coming into their own and dealing with the outside world? And I think, as you said, it is very hard as these young adults coming into college are dealing with this. Then you got NIL and everything like that. It's just added pressure getting put on. And that's why I think, again, the council is going to be good, where we could share experiences through the league, outside of the league, how you can deal with stress and how you can manage that overwhelmingness of people praising you and people criticizing you.
Absolutely. And for you, you've been very public with overcoming your struggles with ADHD, dyslexia, dyscalculia, everything like that. As somebody with ADHD myself, I've found your work and you're speaking about it, just, very powerful stuff. I want, just from your perspective, for people who maybe don't have a full understanding of those things and maybe the challenges that they can bring, not just to an athlete, but to a student, a kid growing up in elementary school, and maybe somebody who doesn't know that they have ADHD until later in life. What is that like for somebody who has to go through it and finds their way to be successful like you have?
Well, I didn't find out dyslexia until I was like 21. And when I found out, I was like, oh, snaps. So this makes that makes 100% sense. I said, y'all should have told me years ago.
Right.
This is why I keep flipping these letters around sometimes. But it's just one of those things. I had this conversation with people all the time where they're like, did you know? You're like, no, because it's just normal for me. And even with those people growing up, it's just normal. So when you start reading, it's just a normal way to read for you. It might take me a little bit longer to read something. Don't have me read no text message. I'm going to take a little bit of time because I'm like, hold on, that don't make no sense. Let me reread this. But it's understanding that some things are going to come a little bit slower. Some things are going to come a little bit faster than anybody else. But you get to learn in a unique way. So you learn different techniques of learning or picking up things. So every aspect when somebody's talking to you, like, I get what you're saying. I think my tutors in college benefited me a lot because of that, because they helped me to pick up different things a different way. So when I had to write an essay or when I had to diagnose some of these papers, I was like, I get it now. I understand where you're coming from because this is the way I got taught. But like from a young child growing up or a young adult dealing with it and they don't know, I can understand the challenging. It gets frustrating. It's like, man, like they don't give me no time test. It might take me a little bit longer. Just not because I can't understand it, because it just takes me a little bit longer to retain what is being said, because like so you might jump some words around here and there. But once you work through that, you gain so much more access of learning and access of understanding outside things. With my ADD, so I got ADHD. So with that, I think the funniest thing about that is I know when it kicks in, and I think my coach knows when it kicked in too, because he just be like, "You here with me?" I'm like, "Nah, bro." I said, "You lost me about 10 minutes ago." I said, "I know exactly what you're saying. I'm already there. I watched the film." But like, he's like, "What are you looking at?" I said, "I'm looking at Buddy's shoes." Like his shoes untied. I'm trying to figure out why he won't trip. Stuff like that kind of kicks in, but you just zone out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I figured that out, and that's why I get ahead of the game. I get ahead of film study. I get ahead of the game plan, understanding where it's at, because I know I might just zone out here and there. I used to tell people all the time, like just don't ask me a question in middle of meetings. Like I know exactly what you're talking about, but might not be there at that time. I might just be a little bit out the space cadetting a little bit, looking at something totally different. But I think everybody in their own way that has played sports has a little bit of ADD, and that's the way we get it out. We get all the extra energy out, and we like to go out there and express everything.
Yeah, I think you've talked a lot about people that have helped you and family and teammates, but you yourself and your wife Andrea do plenty of helping off the field. You guys launched the Lawrence Guy Family Foundation a couple years back. You guys donated, I believe, 40 strollers to moms in need. I've seen a bunch of different events that you guys have been a really big part of. Just what was the motivation behind that foundation? And what's it like for you to have the success that you have and then give back to really a ton of communities off the field?
So the motivation is life. And the reason I say that is we pick stuff through our lives, right? Where we want to donate from. And once you do that, we have a passion with our philanthropy. If we look at the strollers, we had an event giving birth to our third child where we had to overhear a mom struggle through phone calls to her family where nobody cared. And we're in triage, and if nobody cared about enough to entertain her 5 minutes of, hey, I just had a baby, it was an emergency C-section. Nobody gave it anything. And we decided to give her everything that she needed. Bought her the stroller, bought her the car seat, bought her a year worth of supply. And I started a trend where we're like, every single year, we're going to have a donation for single moms that have a kid, that's having a kid, and that previous kids give them something too, but donate strollers. And every single year, we have donated 50 to 40 strollers to single moms. And I tell them all the time, I said, I'm not sitting here trying to donate simple strollers. I'm getting you the top of the line stuff that I get from my kids, like Upper Baby. We our biggest thing was Upper Baby. We got everybody Upper Baby Vistas. And I said, this is a dual stroller. Side-back car seats, where we donated 40, 50 side-back car seats. And all this stuff is around $800 to $500 a pop. And we wanted to make sure that they got what we have as my family. And we continue to do that due to the fact that we understand where people are dealing with in life, right? Because we might be on one path and you're just like, okay, I'm just living this cool life. I don't have any struggles. And something happened where you hear a story, you get to experience something, or it's a tragedy and you might have a bump in the road. I've seen so many bumps in the road from people. I just want to make sure that I was there to help them out. That goes to the Thanksgiving. I want to make sure that everybody on Thanksgiving had a meal. And every year we donate to 300 to 250 turkeys and meals to families. And I think the biggest one we ever did was during the pandemic. We was able to donate 2,500 turkeys and fixings to 2,500 people.
Wow.
And it was one of those biggest things that we got to accomplish. And we were so amazed by it because we always want to make sure that you have school utensils to go to school. Like I said, I understand the hardship of learning. So I want to make sure that everybody had backpacks. I want to make sure they had water bottles or pencils or notebooks. Then we wanted to make sure that everybody had a Christmas. So we did the Christmas shopping. We did make sure that you had food on the table for Christmas, Thanksgiving, food on the table. It's just one of those things that you take from your life and you figured, what can you do that somebody helped you out with to help somebody else out with? If it's somebody gave you a pair of cleats, a pair of shoes, can you give a kid, one or two kids, a pair of shoes 1 year? That makes the biggest difference in somebody's life, is where you give something they wasn't expecting to have for them to be better. And I don't expect nothing in return. I don't expect them to say, hey, man, thank you for this. I just want to understand that there's somebody that's there that heard that asked for help, and that somebody actually cared.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's really powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and you can tell you genuinely care, right? Like, it's not just, oh, I'm just doing this because I'm an NFL player and I want to have a charity and whatever. You could tell that like this genuinely means something to you. For somebody who wants to follow along with what you're doing, or maybe even get involved, where can they find all the fantastic work that you're doing?
You can find on my Instagram, that L guy. You can find on Lawrence Guy Family Foundation on Instagram. We constantly post about everything that we're doing on that. As somebody told me one day, they're like, everybody has a Instagram for their foundation, but we already built this foundation through your initial Instagram. Post everything on that initial Instagram. Don't set us up for Instagram. You already built all this fan base. Just make sure you post it there. So all my information comes from my personal Instagram.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. We will definitely make sure that people understand that. Again, I mean, you and your wife doing a lot of great work off the field, helping people. In terms of helping athletes as it stands right now here at Arizona State, right? We talked a little bit about you being a part of the Big 12 Alumni Council. For Arizona State and for the athletes right now that are playing under Kenny Dillingham here, what do you think you can share with them as somebody who has had and is continuing to have a long, successful NFL career, but you were somebody that was a 7th round pick? Right. You weren't necessarily a guy coming out first, second round that was just destined to be a superstar, but you've had a very long, successful career. What would you say to the Arizona State football players right now that aspire to be in your shoes in just a couple years?
Set a goal. Once you set your goal, drive to it. If you don't accomplish that goal, see what you have accomplished on the way to that goal. And that right there will give you more life lessons than getting to the goal. What did you have to go through every single day that you wanted to grind? I can speak for football in intense. If you want to wake up every day at 6 a.m. to go work out, wake up every day at 6 a.m. to work out. Don't give an excuse why you didn't wake up at 6 a.m. to work out. It doesn't matter if I say to 2 o'clock in the morning with my kids. If I have to be up at 7 o'clock to go work out at 7:30, I'm going to be up at 7 o'clock to go work up at 7:30 because I committed to that. Don't give yourself excuses to quit. And I think that's the biggest thing I can tell you. Don't give an excuse to quit. Give an excuse to continue. There's always going to be factors in life, in football, and injuries that's going to tell you to stop living the dream that you want to live. Don't give yourself that excuse. Grind it out. If it's an injury, get past the injury. Keep going to rehab. Do everything you can. If it's getting better at the sport, train your butt off. Watch more film. Do everything you can. And realize what your expectations are and go surpass it. And once you get surpassed that, just live the dream. Enjoy every day that you get out there and can suit up and play on the field.
Now I'm ready to run through a wall.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go get up at 6 a.m. and work out. No excuses. Lawrence, it's been amazing to have you on. One last fun question for you. You've had a long career in college, in the pros, in high school. So if you had to choose one of your former teammates from any team to go out for one more night on Mill Avenue, who are you picking?
From high school? I mean,
Or from college or from pros? One teammate.
To go on Mill Ave. Oh, that's a good one. Brandon Williams.
Brandon Williams. I was expecting a Gronk. I'm going to be honest. I was expecting a Gronk.
You really thought Gronk was the answer there?
You see, you was hoping Gronk was the answer. Nah, it's too bad, Gronk.
No, he's a wildcat. He's not allowed up here. He's not allowed on Mill Ave.
Every time I see him, I tell him the same thing.
There we go.
We're friends, but I like, because you went to a crappy school, but it's all cool. So there's nobody new. So every year we get the care packages, and every single year I gave him my hat, and I make sure I donated my hat there. And I'm like, hey man, here goes a hat for you, and I put it in his locker. And every single time he has looked at me and like, I know this is you. So when he left, I was trying to get someone to give him the hat again. I was like, man, I think you dropped this hat. And so when I saw him again a couple of years after he left, I think he came over to my house and I brought down the hat. I said, I think you left your hat here. And when he left the Arizona State hat, I think this is something you should enjoy and take care of. This is your pride and joy.
Oh my God.
I love it. That's fantastic.
Awesome. That is perfect. Arizona State legend, 13-year NFL vet, and Super Bowl 53 champion, Lawrence Guy. We appreciate you taking the time today, Lawrence.
Thank you for having me.
That was awesome.
Fire me up.
I mean, Lawrence Guy is just...
He's that guy.
He's a Sun Devil, man.
He's that guy.
He's a Sun Devil. Look, we'll get into some of our takeaways. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about our friends over at Desert Financial Credit Union. They are the official retail banking partner of Arizona State University, and they are not new to the game. They have been around the block or two for more than 84 years. Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and providing financial solutions that make lives better. Of course, we tell you every single day about Erik's family story and
generations.
How they go back so long ago. But if the Ruby family can trust them for as long as they have, that means you can too. And you can look to Desert Financial for checking, saving accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. They have more than just one way to help you get your finances in order. And now is the time to show your ASU team spirit. Open a free checking account online and get $200 plus your choice of 3 Arizona State University Visa debit cards. Go to desertfinancial.com/ASU to get started.
Yeah, pulling back the curtain a little bit after our interview with Lawrence Guy ended, he's like, hey, where are you guys located? You know, well, we're in Phoenix. And he's like, you know what? That was so great. Next time I'm in Phoenix, I'm going to have to stop by. And on his way in, I know that Lawrence Guy is going to stop at Circle K. Because what else are you going to do when you're in the great state 48 besides stopping at their absolute best gas station convenience store? What you going to pick up?
An energy drink.
That's right. You always need your energy drinks, but if you want maybe a Polar Pop or a Froster, any size right now, it is just 79 cents for those non-Inner Circle members. But for those of you in the Inner Circle, it becomes 69 cents. Now, Totri, you're probably asking yourself, that's such a great deal. How does one get in the Inner Circle? Is it like a secret password? Do you have to know a friend who knows a friend who knows a friend? Yeah. The reality is you don't. All you got to do is you just got to download the app.
Wow.
And you want to know how much it costs to join the Inner Circle?
I mean, at least $9.99 a month.
Right? No. It's absolutely free. And not only do you get your Polar Pop deal, they have a bunch of other exclusive deals that are going to pop up on that app. But by far and away, the best part is you get 25 cents off per gallon for your first 5 fill-ups, and then 3 cents off per gallon every single day. Even if you fill up multiple times a day, multiple cars, it doesn't matter. And once you fill up enough times, like I personally have, I am now up a level. I get 5 cents off per gallon
really?
Every single time that I fill up. They just know. It's
like a little game.
I'm in the inner circle. I used to get the 3 cents. The center circle.
Wow.
I used to get just the 3 cents, and then one day it popped up and it was like 5 cents. And I felt so
you
happy.
Get 5 cents forever free.
Forever.
Wow,
Forever.
that's a deal.
That is an absolute deal. And if you want to join the Inner Circle right now, you can do it for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Some terms and conditions apply, as they always do. And at participating locations, visit CircleK.com for more details.
So, Mr. Rubis, the zookeeper, Jose Perez.
Why don't you
Blind
have
Mouse.
a nickname? What's your nickname?
I don't know what you want from me.
Torty?
Torty?
I know PD calls you Torty.
Torty. I had some old coaches that used to call me some interesting names based off my last name, but it never really stuck.
I'm trying to put the
my
pieces
nickname
together.
is just my last name. That's what everybody just calls me. Nobody calls me
That's fair.
by my first name. But getting back to Lawrence Guy, what from that interview, again, we kind of hit on all aspects of life on that one, whether it be his on the field career in the NFL, his time at ASU, joining the Big 12 Alumni Council, working past some difficult things in terms of education and learning stuff. And then also like his family foundation.
Yeah.
What of that for you, I guess, was the biggest takeaway?
I mean, listen, you want to talk about the ASU stuff and you love focusing on that or the fact that he's a Super Bowl champion. I feel like we probably could have talked to him for an hour if time permitted.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's just done so much. I think the thing that I walked away, though, from that with was how genuine he was that whole time.
Yeah.
Even when just recounting his time at ASU or when it comes to, the type of charity he's done, even the type of charity that, nobody really knew about. Obviously, I didn't know about the fact that when his wife was giving birth, the person in the room next door was also having an emergency C-section, was all alone. And he was like, we are going to take care of you. And then he's like, I'm going to make that my passion. And I'm going to buy very expensive and very hard to get baby car seats and strollers and diapers for people in need. And his answer for the charity question was like 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
And he just went. And that's one of those moments where you just sit back and you're like, this dude gives a shit.
Yeah.
And sometimes you talk to people about charity. It's not that they don't care, but you could tell it's not like their passion. That feels like it was his passion.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think, again, it goes to show you just the type of person that he is. And again, we got the chance to talk with him on and off camera for, in total, maybe 35 minutes.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that you talk to that are different when they're on versus when they're off. And Lawrence Guy was the same person on as he was off. And he is just somebody that, like you said, he cares. He cares about his craft, cares about his family. He cares about families that aren't his. And he cares about people dealing with issues that, he's had to deal with his entire life.
And he cares about cheesy bread.
And the cheesy bread.
The cheesy bread.
He does enjoy cheesy bread. That's crazy.
That's such a college athlete story, though, where it's like, yeah, it was more, right before a game, we're like, maybe we should stop after our third basket.
Yeah,
cheesy
3
bread.
baskets of
I mean,
cheesy
okay,
bread?
but depending on how big these guys were and how many were there.
I mean, they're big dudes.
Yeah, they're
Still,
big. They're
though,
big dudes.
Before a game,
Yeah, and
buddy, you got the toots while you're lining down there, man. Are you
maybe
kidding
that's
me?
what made him so dangerous. Gave him like an extra little speed burst.
And
or
just
something
scared
like that.
the offensive lineman out there.
Like, whoa. But House of Heat Sports, with a couple comments in the chat, says nobody knows how Lawrence Guy saved the Super Bowl more than Malcolm Butler. He tripped beast mode on a wide open tackle. If he doesn't make that tackle, the Seahawks score. And then also saying he talked more about life than football. And obviously, we would love to have deep conversations with him about football and everything like that. And if we have him back on, we'll probably dive a little bit more into that. But
everybody talks about football the same, though.
And
man.
that's the thing is,
like
when you interview somebody, you want to get to know who they are as a person, and he's not defined by football.
No, look, we talk to a lot of football players, right? And a lot of people love football, and I get it. I love football. But when you talk to players and coaches, a lot of the time, you're going to ask them the same questions, and you're going to get the same answers. I think when you get the opportunity to talk to someone like Lawrence Guy that's had the life experiences that he has in a variety of different ways, right? Like how many people can say they were Super Bowl champions while also dealing with like several learning issues, right?
And those learning issues in a
Football
organization that is very, very strict about the details and about doing things right. And the fact that he's such a good, genuine guy and he's able to relate his struggles and the ADHD, where his coaches are like, they're not getting on him about things because they know that he knows what's going on. Like, it takes an incredible level of just like human control to be able to explain that side of it and also to succeed at that level. And the real look into his mind as an athlete was right off the beginning, where he was like, you need to push yourself until you cry, and then you need to push more.
Yeah, I mean, I do it every day when I go to the gym. I don't know about you.
Stop.
I don't know if you work that hard.
Stop, bro.
Stop. But that's just...
I bet you haven't cried in like 5 years.
Wow.
I bet you haven't cried in 5
dig.
years.
Is that not a dig at me?
It's kind of a dig.
I feel like
It's
that's
kind
a
of a
giant dig.
When's the last time you cried?
I have to think about this. When's the last time you cried?
Oh, dude, I cry all the time.
Okay.
I'm a huge cry. And Donald's going to get on
But
me
when
for
was
that.
the last time you cried?
Dude, within the last week.
Like,
for sure.
what? Okay.
Within the last week.
Are we talking like full on like cry, or are we
It's
talking
bad.
like,
Well, just you tell me.
oh man, like just tears
Yeah.
cry? I mean, that's probably a once a week thing.
Okay.
A full cry.
Like a cry.
Oh, a cry. Ooh. That was, what year are we in? 2024? 2021 maybe? 2021 was
You
the last.
haven't had a full cry?
like
in-
that, like the cry of like just it's all out. Like
Yeah.
it's been that long.
You
But
gotta
I don't do that often.
You gotta let it out,
I
brother.
can't, like, I don't know how to do that.
You gotta let
dude.
it out, brother.
I don't know what
Therapy. Dude, see, I knew it. Sweet Prince Kenny says, you're a crier, LOL. Get that out of here. Listen, I ain't ashamed. I ain't ashamed.
There's just Mike Luke
I know.
popping up. Guess who
Mike
has
Luke.
an inner circle hat?
That's the great Mike Luke.
It's the Mike Luke.
You're listening to the Arizona Wildcats podcast.
We
I am
know
Mike
this.
Luke, and I am not a crier, but you deserve it, Erik Ruby. Anthony Totri, let your emotions out. You deserve this. We know that crying is very healthy for your emotions, Totri.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Josh Christopher?
Yeah, let's do Josh.
Let's
Christopher.
talk about Josh Christopher.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
He had himself a hell of an evening last night. This man, Summer League Championship MVP, after a 24-point performance to help the Miami Heat pick up an overtime win yesterday in the Summer League Championship game against the Memphis Grizzlies. 24 points, 4 boards, 3 steals, and a pair of blocks to lead the Heat on their way to a win. It wasn't just that game, though, that he showed up and showed out. Had 23 points in the semifinals game. And now he's looking to find his way on an NBA roster, and I think he has certainly earned at least another chance.
I think he'll get a shot. He's got the build. He's got the skills to go with it as well. Obviously, a former first-round pick. Obviously, a former 5-star recruit.
Former Sun Devil.
Hopefully, he finds his way. I think Miami is a great spot for him if he's able to stay with that organization. They do really well with guys in his build, and especially with kind of where he is in the league, they resuscitate some careers over there. Can I make a really awful joke?
Is he gonna?
You can say no.
Is it gonna get us canceled?
No.
I didn't like the way that you said that.
No, it's not gonna get us canceled. Do you think he was showing out for Larsa Pippen? She was courtside. Is that cancelable?
No, it's not canceled.
Okay.
No.
I told you it was a bad joke. Now the air in here just got real heavy and you've just completely checked out. I'm gonna read read some comments.
I just full on cry.
Yeah,
now.
no,
That's what does
that's
it.
what brings
That's
it
what
out.
does it.
We got some comments in the chat. Sweet Prince Kenny saying I'm a crier when I'm drunk. House of Heat Sports says I'm a crier when ASU does bad. Chad says I'm a crier when ASU does good. And then Sharon says, Erik, you freak me out every time you do that. Sorry, Sharon. I apologize, Sharon Spall. I am merely Erik
God.
Ruby. Ryan says, can we talk about Josan Sannon? Has a chance to be the next Jesus Bro. Has been balling the past 3 weeks. Multiple
I got to see it
30-point
at the
games.
college level. I got to see him in a game versus some actual D1
Dude,
talent.
but it's exciting.
It's
Don't
exciting.
be
It's
like
exciting.
that.
Oh, wow. I am
Don't
tired
be like,
of
I
getting
have to
excited.
see it at a college game.
No,
Bro,
I am
I'm
tired. Why are
excited.
we getting excited? No. You got to show me, dude. I'm so
Duh.
tired. You got to show me.
You
can't
can
just-
have both, dude.
No, you
can
can't.
You can be
can't have
excited.
both.
No.
What's the point of
Shut
getting
up.
excited about
Shut
something
up.
if it's
You
not
can
going
be-
to translate?
No, dude, you can live in this moment right now and
What's
get
the
excited.
moment?
Get excited about the potential, about a guy who's absolutely
Oh my
burning up
God.
in high school, while also acknowledging that in order to get hyped about him doing it the next level, you have to see it. But that's like a 5-star committing to Kenny Dillingham and watching his high school football highlights and being like, well, I have to see it in college. Well, no shit, Sherlock, but it's
You
still
gotta
fun
see it
to
in
watch.
college. I didn't say it's not fun to watch.
Yeah.
When did I say it was fun to watch?
Your
I
initial
just
reaction.
said I'm not going to talk about him being the next Jesus. That's what's happening. He's not Jesus Cristo yet, dude.
He has
hasn't
the
even
chance.
he hasn't even suited up yet for ASU.
Ryan saying 23-25 wins for ASU this season. Yeah. Listen.
I like that.
And then he also
I
said
like
I'm fucking
that.
delusional. So
Oh, God.
I love that, man. Sweet Potato says, Totri, this ASU basketball hate is getting out of hand.
That's coming from Donald?
That's
Really?
coming from Donald.
Wow.
That's the biggest Bobby Hurley backer I've ever seen.
No,
in my
you're
whole
right.
life.
You're right. Anything else, Erik, before we get out of
Dude,
here?
I think that was a great show.
Yeah, do you want to start crying now? Want to cry about it?
You know, you're listening to the Easy Wildcats.
Yeah, there it is.
That's like, I just got multiple personalities. I'm
Uh-huh.
crying. I'm Mike Luke. I'm Eric Ruby. I'm Rubus. I'm the Blind Mouse. I'm Jose Perez. I just got a lot going on.
The zookeeper always
what
gets
else?
left out.
Professor Oates.
Professor Oates, I forgot.
Professor Oates was funny.
There is another one. There is another one that you have, but I don't remember it.
I
know for a
Big
fact.
Hat Man.
Big
of course.
Hat. I mean, that's
Big
an
Hat
OG.
Man.
That's a deep cut. It goes way back.
We know what? By the end of this year, we should snake draft my nicknames.
What should we snake draft tomorrow?
Dude, I forgot about. Oh, athletes that you want to get a beer with.
Athletes that we want to get a beer with.
I had that thought while I was showering the other day. I was like, snake draft.
I got such a bad
snake
one.
draft.
I got such a bad one.
Do you have a bad one?
I have one that's.
You gonna say it now? You want to save it for the Discord?
I'm gonna say it. I'll leave it for Discord.
Okay, yeah.
I'll leave it
Become
for
a
Discord.
diehard today, so you can hear Totri's terrible idea.
How do you do it? How do you become a diehard?
Well, you're going to go to gophnx.com. You're going to click on the little diehard tab, click become a diehard today. You're going to get amazing content. We were teasing this interview in the diehard Discord. We have multiple conversations. We're keeping up with Donald's a dynasty mode with ASU in college football 25, where his son played the championship game and lost.
Yeah, you're grounded.
Which is wild.
You're grounded, kid.
Absolutely wild. You following your college football 25 journey. Of course, talking all sorts of ASU sports, but not just ASU. There is a Wildcats channel. You can stay away from that. We've got Suns. We've got Cardinals. We have Diamondbacks Rising. We have PHNX Hockey. We have all of that. Plus, you get a free shirt or hat every year. I'm repping. I just got my taco shirt. Look at this.
I'm so glad we didn't wear it at the same time. I'm going to wear mine tomorrow.
It's so sick. You can get a free shirt once a year. Get a little diehard card. I know. It feels
awesome.
good. Good size. Everything like that. Plus, you're going to get exclusive content behind enemy lines. You're going to get the video for that. That's going to be the audio-only podcast if you're not a diehard Discord member. But if you are, you get the video. Exclusive written content as well. Speaking of written content, Craig Morgan has a great article about Colin Potter and ASU hockey. You want to go check that out.
He's written 13 articles in 4 days.
Dude, he's insane. You want to go check that out. A lot of that is for free. And of course, you get discounts to all of our events. We're sold out for our pickleball event this Saturday. But shout out to everybody who signed up for that.
Still come hang out, though.
Yeah, super excited for that.
I'll hang out with you. Like, if you hit me up and you're like, hey, I want to go to the pickleball tournament, but I can't play, but I want to hang out with you.
Play some Jenga with us.
If you say that to me, I'll come hang out with you.
There you go. That's all you need. And you can talk to Totri in the diehard Discord, or you can follow him at Anthony_Totri. I'm going to lob it up to you.
He's just, I thought you were going to take us all the way home.
I can if you want me to.
Do it. Why not? Yeah,
you can follow the show at PHNX_Sun Devils. Of course, you can be lookout for all of our great content here at PHNX Sports. The march to 30K continues. We're 300 subscribers away. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. You can follow me at Erik_Ruby. Of course, check out Lawrence Guy, all the great work that he was doing as well. And his Instagram is the best place to find all of that work. And until next time, go Devils and peace.
We all silly like the mayor.